Folks, welcome back into the 2015 East Coast NARCh Finals. Jeremy Ellis here with you at the NARCh Media booth, and joining me, one of my favorite people in all of roller hockey, George Brown of the Alkali Excitement. So George, one of my favorite people because I don't have to ref you anymore. I get to talk to you right here. You have a reputation of being a little rough on some officials every now and then.
I'm sure. I don't like referees much, but I just hope the guys don't take it personal. No matter what, I got to have my players back, and I give them a rough time now. It's just what they expect, so I can't back off now. It's too late in the game.
You stay consistent.
I have to. I treat everybody the same. I treat them pretty miserable out there, especially if we're losing. So never blame refs on a loss, but you got to give them something during the game, so it's not all on me.
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. Everyone likes you back there in the ref locker room,
beautiful.
too. So
and I like all those guys when they're not wearing stripes.
Exactly, exactly. So you started with NARCh back in 2007.
Correct.
So you've been coming for quite some time. I think that was actually my first NARCh right down here in 2007 as well. So talk about your experience here at NARCh. You played a little bit, but your main ID and claim to fame is the coach of the Excitement program. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with roller hockey.
Well, it started a long time ago. It was just, I watched the Sabres game out of the blue, and I mean...
You're from Buffalo.
From Buffalo. A minority kid, you don't usually get into hockey, but I watched it one day and just called around to different rinks, and the local YMCA had floor hockey, and so I tried to find a rink that was doing roller hockey, and found a rink, went there, and of course it was something that was different to me and my family, but we went, got into it, and I just wanted to be entrenched in the sport. So when I was 15, I started to coach 10 and 11-year-olds in the sport, and then I was playing ice in high school, and by the time I was a junior in high school, I had seizures. So I was playing football and hockey, and my doctor took me out of all sports, so my competitive edge was still there. So I started to coach, and that's how I got into roller hockey altogether. But I mean, we had teams back home, the Buffalo Firebirds. I started a long time ago, just traveled locally, just did local tournaments. Then the Buffalo Wings, who Eric Hawk runs, I was a part of them. And then in 2007, I wanted to do my own thing, branch out and do my own thing. And that's when I started to do Excitement. And I started to come to NARCh that year. And I wanted to make sure that every year I was back.
So you have 4 teams at the tournament this year. You've had as many as 6 teams in tournaments past. How much time do you spend during the course of a regular roller hockey season just dedicated to coaching, getting players, doing all the stuff that it takes to run a program like yours?
It's unfortunate, but you spend a lot more time than people would think. I mean, you have to call players, and I don't know how much loyalty is left in the sport. So you always got to check in with them week by week to say, hey, are you still in? Because you have to fill roster spots. Platinum, D1, and Pro has become this thing where you don't build teams anymore from your local community. You have to call around, and you got to get the top-notch players that you can to compete. You know, so it's a work in progress every single year. And like I said, you see guys like Jason Miro, he gets to come back with the same guys every year. And it works because he's won back-to-back NARChs. You know, and with him having the same guys, I'm trying to build something like that and get loyal players who want to come and just play and have fun. You know, and so right now I'm dealing with that. So it's a lot of time when you start with the spring. It's a lot of time seeing when the ice hockey players are available to come, and then you want to try to build something from the grassroots level too. In Buffalo, I'm trying to build something that's for the younger ages, whether they're silver or gold teams, whatever the case may be. You want to start there so you have something, a feeder system to fill into your older teams. And that's what I'm doing right now. So next spring will be a lot more work, and I'm getting a lot of help from the Cheektowaga Center out there in Buffalo. And it's a shame because NARCh doesn't even have a regional out there because there's not much roller hockey in Buffalo at all. It's a shame, but I'm trying to build the grassroots level now, and hopefully we get some more ice hockey coaches who will come over to the roller hockey side who won't mind their players playing.
Well, we've had some great discussions with some of the high-level ice hockey players here that were at the 2015 East Coast and even the West Coast NARCh Finals. Bo Bennett out there, obviously in the NHL now for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He talked about how his ice hockey game has improved from roller hockey. What can you do, and specifically NARCh do, and other people in the roller hockey community, to help build that program, to get the interest back in those ice hockey hotbeds? You know, is there something that you can just think of off the top of your head to get those kids just one time down here? I think that would do a great job to really excite them about the sport.
I think what NARCh has done and what the roller hockey community has done is truly embraced our NHL stars, especially, for example, Pat Maroon. You embrace guys like those, put them in the forefront, and I think we've done that. But I do think it goes back to the ice hockey coaches who always believe that roller hockey is a bad thing for ice hockey players. I think it starts with them. And once we can get into their locker rooms and into their heads and say, look, roller hockey is actually a good thing for these guys, then I think a lot more players will cross over. But as long as they're going back to ice hockey practices and their games and getting fed that roller hockey is a bad thing, it'll never work. So I guess the one thing, if I was to say that there was one thing holding us back, it'd be the ice hockey coaches that haven't really experienced roller hockey, but they still trash it at times.
So I'm an ice hockey player, George. Your experience has only been coaching roller hockey. How do you sell me as an ice hockey player to come play for you and what they can gain out of roller hockey?
Well, it's funny because there's a lot more room out there when you're playing a roller hockey game. I think when it comes to the stick handling, the speed of the game, especially since roller hockey's non-contact, non-checking. It's not non-contact. So I know a lot of players have said that the smaller players get more of an advantage in roller hockey because it's easier to play. And I think if I'm a roller hockey guy going to an ice hockey guy, just come and watch one tournament.
Right.
Watch one tournament and look at the level of play from some of these guys. Like, I mean, you can look at my team, you can look at Jason's teams, any teams that are out there playing the pro division. Like, these guys would do well and they benefit from playing roller hockey. Just watch one event. Just come watch one event. Trust me, watch one event and see the skill that's involved in playing this game. I believe you have to have more skill to play the roller game than you do in the ice game because big guys can get by just throwing their body around in ice hockey. You can't really get by playing roller like that. So, I mean, I think it helps with the speed of your game. I think it helps with the stick handling. So I think if they saw one tournament, we can get them to one tournament and just watch the high level that they play at. Even if it's just the D1 or Pro Division, they can see that would benefit their ice hockey players in the long run.
All right, so my last order of business here with George, we're going to try to cheer him up just a little bit because you've had a couple close calls in the Pro Division, D1 as well. So let's wipe the slate clean with that. Let's talk about your favorite NARCh memory, that one thing that sticks out in the past 8 or 9 years that you think, man, that was the best time ever that I had at NARCh.
Without a doubt, San Jose, Junior Gold. We were playing Team X, and we were the excitement, and we were in San Jose, and the game went to triple overtime.
Right.
And we won in triple overtime, and that was, I mean, I had pro guys playing for me, but younger guys. They weren't pro back then, but guys like Adam Swims. I had a bunch of players who you can see now, well, a couple players who are in the pro division. But that year, Zach Whitty scored the goal in triple overtime, and it was just one of those memories. I've never remembered a triple overtime game at NARCh. To be a part of it, and I remember, I mean, I was young, so I was probably even more immature than I am now. When it comes to officiating, I was kicking my water bottles and everything, just going crazy because we were shorthanded 3 times in the overtime periods. And my idea is in overtime, if there's not blood, there's no penalty. And so I'm always thinking that. But the referees, they reffed a great game. But of course, anything against us, I was losing my mind for. But it's always better when you win a game like that. And my pro team lost in the quarters to RPD last year in overtime. We lost in the semis after scoring with 0.2 seconds left. We lost this year to the Assault. So winning that in triple overtime, that had to be the best NARCh memory I've had. And then if I was to make that an equal, it'd be my Bantam Platinum team winning, and not to shout Jason out here, but we beat Jason that year. And then 2 years later, when his 92s were in their second year, we beat him in midgets in the semis.
Right.
And so anytime I get to beat Jason, it's great. I hate playing the guy because I hate losing to him, and I hate beating him because he's such a great guy. But those would be the top 3 memories: the triple overtime, beating Jason in midget platinum, and beating him in Bantam Platinum for the title that year. So
George Brown, his work is cut out for him with his Alkali Excitement team. Jeremy Ellis with George Brown from the 2015 East Coast NARCh Finals.